Here's more wrestling news for August 19th, 2023, and we're starting with AEW, and it was just a few days ago that Jeff Hardy returned to TV after missing close to a year due to his legal issues stemming from his DUI arrest last June. Fans have been somewhat split in their reactions, with some happy to see him back and others thinking he's had far too many chances, but what does the roster think? When EC3 was speaking on the Wrestling Outlaws, he said that AEW sources told him that there was a sense of peace around Hardy following his return. After the thunderous return, Jeff told those backstage that he wasn't sure fans would cheer, and EC3 added that those in AEW love and support the charismatic Enigma. While those in AEW were pleased with Jeff's return, not everyone has been pleased, as Jim Cornette has criticized AEW for bringing Jeff back on TV rather than pay-per-view. Jeff has been met with love and support, but Tony Khan said last June that Hardy is on his last chance, and we can only hope that he can keep clean and sober from here on. If you've seen MJF, you'll be aware of his commitment to his character, but there are some very rare instances of the AEW World Champion showing his real self. In addition to being a wrestler, MJF is a Jewish man and very proud to be one, and has confronted anti-Semitism in the past on social media. When speaking to Fightful about what it means to represent Jewish people on TV, MJF dropped his character to speak about this serious matter to him and said, full transparency, growing up, I did not. There were two types of Jews on television or movies. It was either really fat, money hungry, or really feeble, like please don't hurt me. So for people to have a Jew to watch on TV that represents them, that's handsome and cool and charming and witty and intelligent and very humble, I think it's so important. MJF's name is up there with the likes of Bill Goldberg, Colt Cabana, Billy Kidman, Kelly Kelly, and other Jewish wrestlers, and realizes the importance of being able to represent his faith. At just 27 years old, MJF has many years left in the ring, and the AEW World Champion will continue to antagonize audiences and represent the Jewish people for a long time to come. MJF may have shown his real self when speaking about the importance of Jewish representation, but he quickly reverted back into his character when speaking about Britt Baker. When asked about his online beef with the former AEW Women's World Champion, MJF didn't hold back, saying that Baker isn't a pillar of AEW like him, despite what PG Punk told her. MJF added that even if she was a pillar like himself, that the idea that she would challenge him for the AEW World title is ridiculous, stating, "I'm 3 times her size, I would beat the f***ing shit out of her." The closest thing to a compliment MJF had for Baker was when he said he respects that she is a dentist and spoke about the importance of good oral hygiene. AEW has never had a woman challenge for their Men's World Championship, but if Tony Khan went that way, Baker would be a likely pick, but the match would be a one-sided massacre, according to MJF. During this week's NXT, Brooks Jensen was involved in a segment with Josh Briggs, but fans may not have recognized Jensen at first. Celebrating Take Your Boyfriend to Work Day on Twitter, Jensen appeared with a new, sophisticated appearance, complete with straightened hair, as his glamorous girlfriend seemed to have given him a makeover. The former hapless Brooks Jensen was replaced by a suave and assertive big man who had some strong words for Briggs, reminding them that they were not brothers. Despite Briggs' emotional apology, Jensen appeared ready to part ways with their tag team forever, in quite the character change for Brooks Jensen. Over the years, we've seen plenty of MMA fighters transition into the world of pro wrestling, including Ronda Rousey, Cain Velasquez, Matt Riddle, and Shayna Baszler, just to name a few. With WWE being merged with UFC, there's been lots of talk about possible crossover stars, and now Leon Edwards is ready to step into the squared circle. Speaking to BBC Newsbeat, the UFC welterweight champion said he'd give it a go when asked about competing in WWE, and revealed that he attended Clash at the Castle in person in Cardiff last September. Leon Edwards isn't the only UFC star who wants to compete in WWE, as Israel Adesanya wants to work in Vince McMahon's company as well, and has paid tribute to WWE multiple times. We'll have to wait and see whether Edwards will end up competing in a match somewhere down the line, but do you want to see him in the ring? Or should he just stick to the octagon? When Bill Goldberg returned to WWE in 2016, he did so because he wanted his son to see him wrestle, and young Gage Goldberg was given that opportunity. The last time we saw Gage on WWE TV, he was getting manhandled during his father's 2021 feud with Bobby Lashley, and the fact that he got physical led some to suspect that he could be a wrestler one day. While speaking to The Ticket, Goldberg was asked about whether his son will become a pro wrestler like him, and while Gage is an athlete, he's not lacing up his boots just yet. He's a football player, he's an athlete, he has been behind the scenes and has partaken in a little bit of what we do, and I mean, for him, it's just like another feather in his cap. He doesn't place a lot of stock in it. I don't want to crush anybody's dreams, but, he's on a mission right now. For now, Gage is a football player just like his father once was, and while Bill would become a wrestler, there's no guarantee that his son will follow in those footsteps. Whatever Gage Goldberg does in the future, he'll have the support of his father, no matter if his future is in the ring, on the field, or somewhere else entirely. Since joining New Japan in January, Mercedes Mone has proven that she can be a star outside of WWE and wasted no time in capturing the IWGP Women's Championship. It was recently reported that her next title defense is the final match on her current agreement, leading to speculation as to what's next for the wrestler. In a series of posts on her Instagram story, Mone cleared up the situation, saying that she's planning to stay in Japan and that she is going to be learning Japanese, leading many to conclude that she'll be with New Japan in Stardom for the foreseeable future. Mone's next title defense will come this weekend when she defends against Mayu Iwatani at All-Star Grand Queendom in a match that has quickly gotten personal between the two. After her Wrestle Kingdom debut, some in WWE predicted that once Mone gets Japan out of her system, that she'll be back in WWE soon enough, but that seems more and more unlikely now. But what do you think to this? Have you been enjoying her work in New Japan Pro Wrestling? Sound off in the comments. For over a year, Big E has been out of action with a broken neck, one that the New Day star realizes could mark the end of his in-ring career, but this week, Big E found a new role out of the ring. The USF kicked off its 2023 season this month, and the Michigan Panthers wasted no time in making the exciting announcement that Big E will be their MC for this season. Big E is one of WWE's most energetic, exciting superstars, so he is the perfect choice for an MC, and we're continuing to wish him the best in his recovery. When Pat Buck parted ways with WWE, it wasn't long until he joined AEW, where he is now the Vice President of Talent Development, but Buck will soon be stepping in the ring. Pat Buck is set to take on Juice Robinson on AEW Dark, and given that he has proven for years that he can still go in the ring, this may not be the last time we see him on AEW TV. After defeating Madcap Moss on last week's SmackDown, Shinsuke Nakamura said in a backstage promo that he intends to win a world championship now that he's back in WWE TV. Of course, this isn't the first time Nakamura has set his sights on World Championship gold, as he challenged multiple times for the WWE title in 2018, but never won the big one. Speaking on his Oh You Didn't Know podcast, Road Dogg Jesse James addressed Nakamura's main roster run and said that Vince McMahon didn't consider Nakamura a main eventer at the time. James went on to say that the language barrier may have proven to be an issue at the time, but added that the world's changed and that he believes Nakamura could be a champion now. It's worth mentioning that Shinsuke's English-speaking skills have improved dramatically in recent years, something that those in WWE will have taken notice of. Whether this means Nakamura will one day become a world champion, who's to say, but he'll probably have a better chance now that Triple H is the one running creative. Since Triple H took over as head of creative, a lot of changes were implemented, but one name fans have seen very little of is Dana Brooke. It was reported that one of Triple H's first decisions under his role was to scrap the 24/7 championship, and a title that Brooke has held multiple times, and fans have seen little of her ever since. On Twitter, a fan revealed that he brought a sign to this week's Raw, reading, "I paid to see Dana Brooke," and that his sign was quickly confiscated by security. This tweet got a response from Brooke herself, who said that she's sorry this happened and that she loves the support she's been getting from fans. This isn't the first time this has happened, as a few weeks ago a fan tweeted that their pro Dana Brooke sign was confiscated, as WWE seemingly doesn't want fans thinking about the former 24/7 champion. Brooke has been with WWE for many years now, but has yet to hold a title other than the 24/7 championship, and fans may be waiting a long time before they see her get a chance, judging by what's transpired. When you see Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair on TV, you'll see one of the most popular, successful superstars on the current roster, so it'll be easy to forget that she is a person just like anyone else. Like countless people, Belair has suffered with mental health issues and this week opened up about her battles with depression over the years. Sitting in an ice bath on Cold as Balls, Belair spoke about her athletics background during her education and how her mental health took a turn despite her success. She explained, "I always thought that if I could lose weight that I could run faster, and I reached a plateau, and so I struggled with bulimia, body dysmorphia, and then my identity was attached to track and field, and being an 18-year-old in college and trying to figure out who I was as a person, I struggled with depression, so I was just like all over the place. Nobody was aware. I was like dealing with this on the inside, and it really didn't come to a head when I just couldn't hide it anymore. That's when I got my family involved. Once you become vulnerable and you acknowledge that you're going through something and you surround yourself with loved ones, then you can finally get help, and that's what happened for me." Thankfully, Belair was able to get the help she needed and would be able to become a successful athlete while also fixing her relationship with her body and with food. If you've seen Belair interact with her fans, you'll know that the EST is an inspiration to countless young members of the WWE Universe, and we have to commend her for speaking openly about her battle with depression. Each year, WWE selects a few noteworthy names to induct into the WWE Hall of Fame, ranging from wrestlers to on-screen personalities to celebrities who have gotten involved in the industry. Each year's class of inductees are usually debated by fans who measure up whether each member is worthy of being inducted, but Tony Chimel isn't expecting to be inducted ever. During Mike Chioda's Monday mailbag, Chimel was asked about the WWE Hall of Fame, and the former WWE announcer didn't leave any room for doubt when sharing how he feels. "First of all, I don't ever see that phone call being called to me. There's so many people there that have been there for so long, and all WWE is worried about is how many tickets they can sell. It really doesn't mean much, the Hall of Fame. It really is just another venue for them to make a crap ton of money." Chimel did add later that there are names that he does believe were right to be inducted, and said that if he were to be inducted, he'd like Edge or John Cena to do so. Every few years, rumors of a physical WWE Hall of Fame come up, but nothing comes of it. And what do you make of Chimel's comments, and do you agree with him about the Hall of Fame? And we're ending with Renee Paquette, who during her WWE tenure became the first ever female commentator in the history of WWE's flagship show. During her time on the Red Brand, Renee called some of the biggest matches of the time, but has now spoken up about the lack of respect on the announcers. Speaking on Insight with Chris Van Vliet, Paquette said that there's often not enough respect on commentators, and that in WWE, there could be more attention spent on what makes a commentator good. Paquette referenced Adnan Virk, who she called a fantastic broadcaster, but he wasn't well versed in the world of wrestling, hence why his time behind the desk lasted mere weeks. Renee said that it takes a long time to become a great commentator, though did say that Pat McAfee is an anomaly who goes against that trend. Speaking about Michael Cole, Renee said that the veteran is finally getting the credit for his work, and that he has thick skin and isn't rattled by what others have to say. While she's now in AEW, Paquette has said that she isn't interested in stepping behind the desk again, and she's more than happy as a correspondent in Tony Khan's company.